Well, good morning. This is Simone Haas coming to you live on Facebook. And today I'm joined by Mireille Watkins Ryan, and we're going to be chatting about the power of social media to actually help us to connect and to bring us together rather than to separate us. And I know that social media has incredible impact. And Mireille and I are going to be chatting about this now, but we're also going to be having a deep dive conversation about finding your power and your passion and your purpose at my upcoming Simone and Friends Series 6 on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. But first, let me bring Mireille into the conversation. First time I've done this, so fingers crossed that it all works, but it's saying it's adding you, so any minute now. Come on, bring me along. Okay, adding. Okay, so while I'm just waiting for the technology to catch up, obviously it's having a sleepy Monday morning. Okay, let's just try that again. Are you there? You're there. Hello. We're
Yay!
good. Do you know, I was thinking, I actually have no idea how to do this. So I'm hoping that once I hopped on live, that it would actually show me how to do it. And it absolutely did. So here you
That's
are.
lucky.
Yeah, cool. So good morning, Mireille. Lovely to see your smiling face. And thank you so much for joining me for this Facebook Live today.
My pleasure. I'm excited to do that. I'm so glad it worked as well because I had one the other week that didn't work so well. So
Ah,
good to see that it came on so easily.
It did indeed. So, Mireille, I know that we're going to do more of a deep dive conversation this coming Wednesday night in Simone and Friends, Series 6, and I'm really looking forward to having more of a deep dive conversation with you then about how you came to do what you do. So, just as a very brief intro, why don't you just share with us a little bit about your background and why we should be going to you to find out more about how social media can connect us rather than separate us?
Absolutely. Thanks, Simone. For me, social media was a journey that I began probably about 10 years ago, and it was when I was in the fitness industry. And I wanted a way that I was able to get my message out in the world on a very, very low budget. And as we know back then, advertising was quite expensive. Just to even get a flyer in the letterbox, you were looking at design costs, printing costs, delivery costs. And then you were basically only going to hit a very small percentage of your target market because you were literally hitting everybody, not just the people who'd be interested in what you had. So that's when I discovered social media, because it was, at that time particularly, it was it was a free medium. We had a lot of, you could really get a lot of engagement back then at no cost. And using the power of social media, I was able to not only build my brand here where I live on the Gold Coast, but I was also able to build it around the country. So I was able to also open locations of my fitness business in Darwin. I still
Right.
haven't been to Darwin.
Okay.
I managed to know exactly who my ideal demographic was, how far they would travel. And once I decided where my location was going to be and had everything in place, using targeted Facebook ads, I was able to basically sell out my business in just over a couple, I think it was about 24 hours where I sold out my Darwin locations.
Wow.
And that was just using the power of social media. I mean, like I said, I still haven't been to Darwin yet. And I was able to do that. And that's where I guess my love affair of social media began, and using it to, grow my brand, not just in Australia, but overseas as well, using the power of tools such as YouTube, where I've put multiple videos on YouTube, but one of my fitness videos filmed of me doing a workout in my lounge room has been seen by over 300,000 people.
Oh my goodness,
So
that's amazing.
I know. I know, it's funny when I think about doing that, and then being able to connect with people all over the world. And even as I went through my fitness journey, I was able to use social media in a really strong strategic way to help me grow my brand, which allowed me to win, combined with everything, to win an award in 2010, a business award, which once I hit that sort of pinnacle, I guess, in my industry, I was looking for other ways and other challenges and decided that I wanted to look at transitioning to another industry. And over the next several years, I did that and moved into the social media space because people were asking me what I was doing, how I was doing it. And I moved across into the social media space. And because I had won that award, I saw how it really elevated my profile. So I wanted to do that in the social media space as well. So what I've done is I've created the Social Media Marketing Awards to allow social media marketers from all over the country to have the opportunity to win an award and be able to have the same benefits and opportunities that I have. And that's what we're in the process of doing. We've just had closed entries with 62 entries, and we've had entries from the Commonwealth Games, the Victorian Government, Opera House, the ballet, just so many amazing organisations, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh, that's amazing. And to get that kind of traction with something that you've built from pretty much the ground up, to get that kind of traction from people who are looking, and they're obviously looking for this kind of engagement, but also this kind of recognition. And one of the things that really kind of resonates for me when I hear you speak about how you've got to where you are now is the power that it actually creates, or social media creates, to actually connect us with our target audience. And I suppose that's the thing that many of us who are in business actually really struggle with. And it's about, finding, well, where do they live? Where can I connect with them more deeply? So that's obviously something that you've nailed, because I think you have over 50,000 followers, which, to me, I think I have about 500.
Yeah, I've got 55,000 followers on Twitter and 24,000 on LinkedIn.
Oh, that just has my head in. Yeah. So, I've got about 500. So I obviously need to learn a bit from you. So it didn't happen overnight. Okay, fair enough. So how long would you say that it's taken you to build that kind of a following and to be able to create that deeper connection with the people who are looking to you for guidance, are looking to you for insights about how they can build their presence online?
Well, as you mentioned before, one of the key things is understanding who your ideal target audience is, because where I see people going wrong with social media is that they don't understand their demographic. So in doing so, they actually start to focus on the wrong platforms, the social media platforms, and trying to build a following on a platform that doesn't necessarily resonate with the audience they're actually trying to reach.
Right.
For me, I'm really targeting now a very B2B kind of space. So with that in mind, that's why my focus is very much in LinkedIn and Twitter. But when I was in the fitness space, I was more B2C. And so, Instagram and Facebook was a much better place for that.
Okay. So, and for those, okay, let me just gather my thoughts, because yes, there's a few things going on. So much information coming at me. So yeah, that actually is really a profound difference, isn't it? Knowing where your audience live. Now, so for someone like myself who does a combination of live events, I run my own workshops, I do a lot of speaking and growing that internationally as well. Obviously, the business to business, the B2B part of that audience would be living on LinkedIn. But for live events, would you say that would be the case, or would that be more a Facebook or Instagram audience? What do you think?
Well, again, if you're still B2B focused, it would definitely be LinkedIn. That's the place where you need to grow. And the thing I think that I suppose LinkedIn can do people's heads in about is they think, well, how do I promote that kind of event on a LinkedIn without being very salesy? And I can tell you, I've done it in the past. I've done it so wrong. I've gone onto LinkedIn and I've literally just put up all the billboards on my profile and say, sign up to this event, come to this event. And it just doesn't work. And what I've learned, and I've actually been working with the wonderful LinkedIn Ninja, Julian Bullock, and we actually just held some events in Sydney and Melbourne last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and what we did instead is we actually looked at what it was we were presenting, and we did some videos about the content or the type of content that we would be sharing, so that we were able to position why people should be there, because if this is the content they're getting on LinkedIn, imagine what they're going to get when they are in person. And so that's, we frame that. And so we created these videos, which we shared. And, you know, for example, when I was posting those broadcast type messages, I was getting about 500 views or so. But when I changed it to a more of a video, answering questions, positioning what sort of content would be there, we were getting 8,000 views and sales. So it shows the difference of how we treat, because unfortunately a lot of us want to almost treat social media as an ad channel where we're literally just blasting these ads, but it's actually not about that. It's about building relationships, about building rapport. And by doing so, then people want to take that relationship into the real world and come to your event.
Yeah, and I think that's the huge difference, isn't it? That's the piece that's about connection. People want to know, first of all, they want to know that they can trust you, that what you offer is going to be of value to them. So they're going to want to engage with you at a much deeper level. But before they can do that, they need to know who you are. They need to know, well, what's in it for me, and how can you create that connection more deeply. And I love those suggestions, and I think that's incredibly valuable for anyone watching this who actually runs any kind of business or works in that business to business space. Now, I see that one of my other wonderful interviewees, Kelly Ireland, is actually online with us at the moment, and I'm wondering, Kelly, give me a thumbs up if you can join us live for just a very quick chat, because we're going to do a deep dive with you as well, to use a bit of a pun, because Kelly is the operations manager at the Australian Marine Conservation Society. Kelly, give me a thumbs up if you're able to join us live, or let me know one way or another. Maybe type a comment if you can. And if you can, I'd love to bring you into the conversation. That would be very, what beautiful synchronicity for that to happen too. So while I just wait for Kelly to let me know one way or another, Mireille, what else would be helpful to people who want to be able to build trust? I totally hear what you're saying about the idea of, bringing Kelly in, the idea of creating that connection and not making it, you know, like addy, I don't think there's such a word, but not making it just about, you know, like literally this is an advertising channel. And so what else can we do? How can we create that initial invitation to people, do you think?
Well, I think, like I mentioned, if you're trying to build, say, building your brand, and you're thinking, well, people don't know me, so why are they going to trust me? I mean, one of the easiest ways you can do that is by actually interviewing somebody else who is actually well known, especially if they're going to be a speaker at your event. You know, that's a very easy way to start to build that brand.
Right.
You know, the other thing too is that we've got to realize that social media is just not a one-way communication channel. Even when we are posting these great videos, the way that you actually do get the traction in your audience is to actually make it a two-way conversation. So, you know, even how we're doing a Facebook Live now, I see a lot of people who are really successful in that space do a lot of Facebook Lives, but they do it in a way where they actually are getting the audience to actually be engaged in that conversation. And that's something that I don't do very often on Facebook. So it's something that I'm looking at bringing into my scope of my strategy, is to bring more of that connection so I can actually do lives and get the audience and myself to engage in a two-way conversation. But if that's not working, or it's something you're not comfortable with doing, then you can go into social media platforms like LinkedIn, and you can then start engaging with the comments and the content of other people who are posting, and that's a way that you can build that relationship. But the whole focus is to try and look at building it so that you go from a place of online to offline. And I do that every time I travel. I'll invite people to connect with me in the real world, not just at the event, but to go and have a coffee or just a way to connect, because that's where the relationship deepens and that's where the success comes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? This is really just an opening of the door, isn't it? It's a way that people start to engage with you a little bit more. They get a bit of your energy, your essence, if you like, and they're able to then go, oh, okay, yeah, I really would like to connect with you more in person. And it's interesting too that in a conversation in a group this morning, someone actually made a very valid comment that, I need to be invited in first before I'll commit to either watching you or listening to you. And I think that's so important, that people feel that the invitation is for them personally, that it's not just, I'm just going to sell stuff to you. I want you to come to this event, or, of course, I would love people to come to Simone and Friends, but it's not just about that, because, the fact that people are sitting on their phones now and watching and listening to this conversation, that in itself is a wonderful way to invite people to understand a little bit more about what you do and how much value you can actually bring to them. And that could be just in a post that you do, or it could be in something that you share, an article or something that you share, can't it? So it can happen in many different ways.
Absolutely. And, I look at Gary Vaynerchuk, who I interviewed many years ago, and he's written a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is basically the concept is that you give, and then you do the sale. And see, unfortunately, a lot of marketers have it around the wrong way, where they do the sale, and then they try and build a relationship, and it's just back to front. Because if you did that in the real world setting and you went into a networking event, and the only thing you did was spruik how wonderful you are and why people should come and work with you without building that relationship, it just doesn't work.
No.
It's the same for social media. We've got to give and give and give, and to the point where people do feel comfortable that they're ready to take that next step forward into that relationship. But when they do, it's really powerful. The other day I ran an event and I had somebody there who came up and spoke to me as if they knew me so well and that I knew them. And I had to actually place where I knew them from. And then it finally clicked, because I had been promoting and talking and sharing and doing all these things online. And they felt that they knew me so well that when we went into the off-world, into the real world setting, they kind of thought that because they knew me so well, that I would know them so well. But they'd been watching and not necessarily engaging. And so it was wonderful for us to create that in the real world sort of relationship as well, which allows that strength to come. And, you don't just want people to buy from you once anyway. You want them to become people who continually either buy or engage from you and then share your message. So again, it's about creating that trust and that relationship with you.
And that's that's really kind of, I suppose, the pivotal thing about that I wanted to get out today, is how powerful social media can be to build that trust and that connection. And we spend so much time with our faces planted in our devices, that we need to see this as a way that, how can this be a positive thing for us rather than separating us? How can we create a deeper connection? And I think that that's true for everyone. It's not just for people who have a business or who are part of a business. I think it's for everyone. How can we contribute to each other's lives? And that's part of what I'd love to explore with you in more detail, is how we can do this in a way that adds value to people's lives outside of the business platforms, outside of those commercial situations. And so we'll be talking a lot more about this in our interview together on Wednesday night. So that's for those of you who are interested in finding out a little bit more. The event is live in Brisbane, so it's actually like real people in front of a live audience. Although, it's fabulous to be able to connect with people all around the world in this kind of a medium. But for Simone and Friends Series 6, it is live in Brisbane on Wednesday, the 23rd of May at 6 p.m. at 17 Gould Street, Hurston. I will put details of the event in the link below after I've uploaded the video. And I do hope that you'll be able to join us in the audience to find out a little bit more about the magic that Mireille brings to social media and how she can actually help you connect more with your passion and your purpose through the wonderful world of social media. So Mireille, thank you so much for joining me today. I know it was a very ad hoc It's been absolutely delightful to get a chance to actually talk with you a little bit more, and very much looking forward to sharing a deeper conversation with you on Wednesday, where we will look to inspire people to actually really step up their presence in a way that connects with people and builds trust rather than separates us. So thank you so much for joining me. And Kelly, I'm sorry we couldn't bring you into the conversation. Maybe we can do a Facebook Live together tomorrow. That would be really cool. So I'll look to create that with you tomorrow. Mireille, thank you. And I look forward to catching up with you on Wednesday evening.
Me too, Simone. Thank you so much.
It's been delightful. Thank you. And for all of you watching now and in the future, I'm Simone de Haas. My guest today was Mireille Watkins-Ryan, CEO of Social Media Marketing Institute. It's been delightful sharing your company today. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.